I'd like to call this meeting to order, the Coralville City Council, April 28th, 2020, via Zoom. A roll call, please.
Councilmember Foster.
Present.
Gross.
Here.
Gill.
Present.
Dodds.
Present.
Goodrich.
Here.
Okay, all council members are present, as is the mayor, the city clerk, city administrator, city attorney, and various city staff that will join us as the topic is appropriate. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the deletion of items 11, C, and D.
So moved.
Moved by Gill, seconded by?
Second.
By Gross, it sounded like. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
The amended agenda is approved. Citizen comments. I have one citizen comment that was received via email that I'll read quickly. But before I do that, I'll ask, is there anyone in the council chambers that'd like to speak to us tonight?
There's no one present to speak in the council chambers for city.
Okay. So it appears the only one is it's the email from Sarah Barron from the Affordable Housing Coalition that I had the clerk send to the council members. But since she would be speaking this in public if she was at our meeting, I'm going to go ahead and read it. The Affordable Housing Coalition would like to thank the City of Coralville for its careful response of providing uninterrupted water, sewer, and refuse service to residents during the COVID-19 crisis, regardless of their ability to pay. As a follow-up to our letter sent April 16th, we would like to comment on the importance of utility relief for Coralville residents and ask the council to consider offering utility bill forgiveness to households that are struggling economically because of COVID-19. Through the state moratorium on evictions and foreclosures, along with the city's moratorium on utility shutoffs, Coralville residents have been offered important temporary relief from the housing insecurity. When these moratoriums lift, however, residents will be faced with impossible choices about how to secure their most basic needs. Bills that have been deferred are piling up for many families, and we are currently have no federal or state plan for preventing a massive, sustained crisis in our overall housing market. Because housing costs are the single biggest expense for most households, and often the bill they pay first, forgetting other essentials, the city can offer direct, meaningful relief to its residents by developing a plan to forgive utility bills. It has never been more obvious that our community's health and vitality relies on safe, stable housing for every one of our residents. This investment in housing security from the City of Coralville will demonstrate the kind of leadership and innovation that we'll need to make it through the tough times together. Thank you for your time and your service, Sarah Barron, Johnson County Affordable Living Housing Coalition, Executive Director. The council will be discussing this along with a financial overview during our work session that follows this formal meeting. Are there any other comments? Hearing none, I will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is item 5. Fiscal year 2021 Iowa DOT Consolidated Transit Funding Grant application. The first, this application is for $1.87 million. 200 of that, 283,000 approximately of formula funds from the State Transit Assistance Program, $452,000 from statewide federal operating assistance for transit. Nearly $64,000 from federal funds for transit in non-urbanized area and/or transit serving primarily elderly persons or persons with disabilities. And I'll just comment that this is our traditional and typical annual grant application that's submitted to the Iowa DOT. So item A is a public hearing. I will hereby, on this application to the Iowa DOT, I will hereby open the public hearing. Are there any comments? I'm guessing none.
There's no one present and there are no written comments.
Okay, thank you, clerk. I will close the public hearing and consider the resolution, Don.
Resolution authorizing the filing of an application with the Iowa Department of Transportation for fiscal year 2021 Iowa DOT State Transit Assistance and Federal Transit Administration funding introduced for adoption by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Gill, I believe.
Yep.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Okay, the resolution passes all ayes. Item 6 is the planning and zoning item, Lot 2, Jacob Creek 5th Subdivision. We'll have a building and zoning department report and planning and zoning commission report by our new departmental director, Dave Johnson. The council, unfortunately, because of the current pandemic, hasn't had an opportunity to meet as a group with Dave, but we welcome on board. He's been around for nearly this entire month now, and a great addition to the city. And welcome, Dave, and please give us your report.
Yeah, thank you for the warm welcome, Mayor and City Council members. I'm David Johnson, Community Development Director for the City of Coralville. The request before you this evening is to rezone and approve a site plan for Lot 2, Jacobs Clear Creek Subdivision. The vacant property is 1.43 acres. And again, the intention is to build a 4-story, 68-unit hotel. The property is currently zoned C2 Arterial Commercial District and is designated as regional commercial in the City of Coralville Community Plan. John, if you wouldn't mind going to sheet A5. The building materials include brick, stone, ephes, and composite siding. All 4 facades use varying amounts of the same gray ephes, light gray ephes, stone, silver color trim, as well as composite siding at the base. And the Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed the request at their April 1st, 2020 meeting. By a vote of 5-0, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the request to rezone Lot 2 Jacobs Clear Creek 5th Subdivision from the C2 Arterial Commercial District to the CPUD2 Commercial Planned Unit Development 2 District and the PUDB site plan as submitted. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Item C is a public hearing on this rezoning. I'll declare the public hearing open. Are there any public or written comments, Mr. Clerk?
There are no written comments. There's one public comment.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Luke Newton. I'm with MMS Consultants, and I'm here on behalf of this project and available if you have any questions that you'd like to have me answer for the project. Thank you.
Any questions for Luke? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and call the first consideration of the ordinance.
Ordinance number 2020-1004, an ordinance amending the Coralville zoning ordinance, the same being ordinance number 664, as previously amended, rezoning certain property located within the corporate limits of the city of Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa, and generally known as Lot 2, Jacobs Clear Creek 5th Subdivision from C2 Arterial Commercial District to CPUD2 Commercial Planned Unit Development 2 District, introduced for adoption, first consideration by Councilmember Gross, seconded by.
Second.
I believe that was Lori Goodrich that seconded that. Any discussion? Roll call.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Okay, the ordinance passes its first consideration, all ayes. I will mention that we received a request by the owner/developer of this project to condense the 2 readings at our next council meeting, and that will be on the agenda for the council consideration if they so desire to do so. Moving on to item 7, another planning and zoning item, Lot 6, Coral Ridge Commerce Park Phase 6. Dave, we'd like a building and P&Z report, please.
Absolutely. This request is to rezone and approve a site plan for Lot 6, Coral Ridge Commerce Park Phase 6. This property is 2.43 acres. It's bordered by Coral Ridge Avenue, Wheaton Road, and Cross Park Road. Sheet 1 would be great, John. If you can go back just a little bit. This is fine. This gives the concept. So at this location, there's 2 buildings proposed. The building to the north is a 4,500 square foot restaurant with an outdoor patio area. To the south is a 7,180 square foot proposed retail building. And both buildings face Coral Ridge Avenue. John, if you want to move to the renderings. This property is located in the Northwest Growth Area. It's currently zoned C2 Arterial Commercial District and is designated as Corridor Commercial in the City of Coralville Community Plan. For this, building materials include a combination of glass and metal, brick, and fiber cement siding. John, if you wouldn't mind, please moving to the elevation drawings on this. That would be sheet A3. Thank you. So you'll notice in the elevation drawings that these are, again, identical buildings in design. These buildings are composed of brick veneer at the base, Nichiha block panel system, which is a type of cement board or fiber cement composite material at the ends, and in between is a pre-finished metal siding material. And this building is trimmed with black aluminum. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed this request at their April 1st, 2020 meeting. It was by a vote of 5-0, the commission recommended approval of this request to rezone Lot 6 Coral Ridge Commerce Park Phase 6 from C2 Arterial Commercial District to the CPUD2 Commercial Planned Unit Development 2 District and the PUDB site plan as submitted. That's all I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Dave. I think we'll go ahead and go to the next item, which public hearing on this proposed rezoning. So I'd like to open the
Mayor, you need to unmute yourself.
Oh.
I can hear.
Yeah, I think I believe you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep. Okay. So I'm going to go to the next item, which is the public hearing on this project. I'd like to open the public hearing. First, asking the clerk, did we receive any written comments?
No written comments, and I believe no one here to do public comment. Oh,
okay.
Incorrect here.
Looks like Luke's back.
Yep, I'm back. I'm still here in case you have any questions on this project as well.
Any questions during public hearing? Okay. Therefore I'll close the public hearing and consider the first reading of the ordinance. Don?
Ordinance number 2020-1005, an ordinance amending the Coralville zoning ordinance, the same being ordinance number 664, as previously amended, rezoning certain property located within the corporate limits of the city of Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa, and generally known as Lot 6, Coral Ridge Commerce Park Phase 6 from C2 Arterial Commercial District to CPUD2 Commercial Planned Unit Development 2 District, introduced for adoption first consideration by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Seconded by Foster. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich. Gross.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Okay, the ordinance passes its first consideration, all ayes. Moving on to item 8, this is the Scanlon Farms conceptual plan. The property owner and developer are asking the council to review their proposal concept plan and offer any feedback at this time. The subdivision will still need to have land use and rezoning if needed, and plats and site plans to go before planning and zoning and council for approval before development. But Dave, would you like to start this off with us, please?
Sure. A little background on this project. The property is 251.24 acres. Of that, 208 acres is subject to development under this concept proposal. There is a total of 993 units proposed, resulting in a project density of 4.75 units per acre, which is generally in keeping with the low and medium density residential future land use map designations. John, if you wouldn't mind moving to the renderings, thank you. These are the single family detached homes. There's also attached homes and apartments and townhomes in this proposal. The attached concepts include a mix of vinyl lap and shake siding with stone veneer at the base. We don't have any specific material details yet on these single family detached units and apartments. However, from this image, you can ascertain general building forms and features. In addition, Caleb Smith from McClure Engineering is also with us this evening, and he may be able to provide any further details on that. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed the concept at their April 1st, 2020 meeting. By a vote of 5-0, the Planning and Zoning Commission supported the general concept, noting they would not like the overall density any greater than what was proposed. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, Caleb Smith, again, is with us this evening. He may have something to add to my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Caleb, is there anything you'd like to add before I open it up for council discussion?
No, Dave did a great job. I did notice the drawing packet. I'm not current drawing. Let's see if I can
Here.
No.
Caleb, I'm sorry, we're having a hard time hearing you.
Yeah, we can just barely hear you.
Okay, let me try that again. Is that better?
Okay, we don't hear you at all now.
Nothing. Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I just changed ports here, so it seems like that's working better.
Yep, much better.
Okay, thank you. Dave did a great job kind of explaining where we're at in the project, and I know you guys seen this here a few weeks ago, very informally. If I can, I'm gonna try and share my screen. There is only one. Okay, maybe I can't. The drawings that Dave shared are the versions that went to P&Z. We do have one other variation that Matt and I have been working through that we'd like to have a discussion about. Dave, if you can pull up that drawing again with the overall layout plan, I think I can explain the only change to it that we want to do.
John, could you move to sheet 2 of 5?
Yeah, thank you. So the only change we've got right now, and I think it's kind of per the initial discussions we had with council, kind of maybe aligns more with what everybody's wanting. We had some townhomes identified up along the Dubuque Street, up there where the row of trees have been planted already. Matt kind of challenged our layout and asked us to take a look at what would happen if we would take a lot of those townhomes away from Dubuque Street there on kind of the northeastern end and move them more into the phase 4, phase 6 area. And then we would just move single family lots over there. We've got a concept that does that and basically takes all that multifamily, puts it towards the middle, and then pushes more single family to the east. I know one of the comments we got a few weeks ago was it would be nicer to see single family lots there. And after revisiting that, I think we've got a plan that allows us to do that and keep the density essentially the same as this plan has proposed. So that would be the only change to this plan that I think we are ultimately going to move forward with. And we'd love to have your input on that and see if you have any concerns with that change. And certainly happy to answer any questions you may have about anything that pertains to this document.
Caleb, just for the help of the people viewing this online, if my directions are correct, to the left is actually to the north. When you say to the north, it's to the left of that drawing.
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah, John, let's leave that up as the council discusses it if we can. So I think we have several issues we can talk about this proposal, the the density, the types of dwellings, and the phasing, as well as impacts on local road systems. And generally, I'm very pleased. It seems to be a good mixture, in my opinion. But what do you all feel?
I'm fine with it. I'd like to just see the switch and see what it looks like before but we could probably catch up on that on the second go around. So I'm fine with it as it is right now. And let's see the change. If we don't like it, we can put it back the way it was.
And then I know we talked about this briefly the last time we met, and I'm just curious, can we just have an overview again of the different price points of these houses? I know that being so close to a school, one of the things that I'm particularly concerned about is that we're not getting either particularly high concentration of wealth in this area, just so that we don't get the disparities that we typically see with some of our schools and especially with new developments.
Yeah, this is Caleb Smith. One of the goals is we kind of revisioned this project was trying to find a way to put a product out there that could get the price point to what we figured people can afford to pay for right now, especially from an entry level position. And that's why there's a mix of so much different product type in here. The single family lots are not going to build, $500,000 houses. These are going to be price points, I've been told they can get to 200 and maybe a shade under. I've yet to see that personally, but that's their goal. But 200 to 250 for the single family houses shown in yellow. The townhomes are similar price points, a little bit above, a little bit below that area, all around the project. So it's really the idea to try and provide affordable housing to folks that are looking to move from the apartment to the townhome or townhome to their first house. And they want to get a new house. This is a way they can do it. We've got a builder that's looking at developing a good chunk of these single family lots, not all of them. And they've got a good history of doing this. They'll be new to the market. So I think this will provide affordable housing in a product type, though, that still will be nice and won't be a detractor to the rest of the neighborhood.
Caleb, this is Mitch Gross. I just want to make sure I heard you right. So did you say the price point for the single family homes was between $200,000 and $250,000?
Yeah, and of course with finishes and things like that, it potentially could go above, but that's generally their price point they're trying to hit in this market, at least for our last conversations. And the lot sizes we've got proposed here will accommodate that.
Okay, and how many single family units will there be?
Right now, we've got 325 units,
Okay.
depending on which version you look at.
And the townhomes you said are in a similar price point?
They can be. There's some attached product they've got that, and again, we're talking to a few different folks potentially on that deal, but their price point could be in that same range, maybe a little less, especially for the fourplexes that we've got shown, might get just a shade under 200. But
Okay, because I thought when we had the discussion before, there would be things under $200,000 in the developments. So
Yep.
that is going to be the case.
And again, they tell me they can do the single family at that, and the ones we got shown in yellow. If they hit that, that's what we're trying to help them get accomplished in this project. But townhomes will certainly be able to get there.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other comments from the council?
Would you mind just showing us again with your little hand thing where those the tree line buildings would be, where they would be replaced to? That's where they are now.
Right now, where they're highlighting that area that's in orange is the old concept. Our current concept that we've got-
Multifamily.
Yeah, that's multifamily. Our current concept we've got is going to go single family in that location. And then where it says phase 4 and phase 6, right in there, that area will be switched out to be multifamily. To just basically switch the units around to push more single family kind of to the top part of the page. Yep.
See, and that's you're bordering multifamily down here anyway, so that'd be fine.
And what kind of a timeline are you looking at?
Right now, our goal is if we can get a favorable review of this tonight, Matt's asking us to move full speed forward with preliminary plat and necessary documents to get development going. We want to try and get the phase 1 area, as highlighted in this drawing, ready to go for construction this year. And weather dependent will tell us how much we get done. But I think at the end of the day, we'd like to be able to deliver lots sometime next year.
Yeah, so to answer your question, Councilman Gross, Pat planted this, or he's gonna plant this in corn or soybeans, I'm not sure which, but as soon as the crops are out, our goal would be to start moving dirt immediately, and then we're kind of up to Mother Nature on how soon the winter comes and what the spring rains are like. But I would like to turn over these lots a year from now, or in fact sooner, so they can start the construction process in phase 1 and get lots ready to market and go by August of 2021. So that's our plan, but it's hard to develop over the winter. It could be a mild winter or it could be a harsh winter, but our plan is as soon as the crops are harvested is to start moving dirt and get everything ready to go. So once that combine's out of the field, we bring in the dirt machines.
Thank you very much.
I have one last question. Is the city good with the Forever Green Road concept that they've got here? The transit, is that good?
Yes, the Forever Green Road corridor, as it is shown, complies with the corridor study that was done several years ago. So we're good with the location.
Good.
Okay, unless there's more comments, thank you, gentlemen. I think there's consensus that you should continue to move this proposal forward, this concept forward. Thank you for giving us a chance to review it.
Thank you. Appreciate your insight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to item 9, which is Lot 2, Dovetail Estates, Part 9. This is the third and final consideration of an ordinance change for the development in Dovetail Estates. Don, I would like to hear the third reading of the ordinance, please.
Ordinance number 2020-1002, an ordinance amending the Coralville zoning ordinance located within the rezoning certain property located within the corporate limits of the city of Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa, and planned unit development, generally known as Lot 2, Dovetail Estates, Part 9, from CPUD 1, Commercial Planned Unit Development 1 District to CPUD 2, Commercial Planned Unit Development 2 District, submitted for third and final consideration, formal adoption by Councilmember Dodds, seconded by.
Seconded by Gross. Discussion? Roll call.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Okay, the ordinance passes its third and final consideration, all ayes. Item B is a resolution approving the PUDB site plan for this project.
Resolution approving the PUDB site plan for Lot 2, Dovetail Estates, Part 9, Coralville, Iowa, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Wow. Who was that? Was that you, Jill? Did you do it?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll give it to Jill, to Dodds. Discussion? Roll call.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Okay, the resolution passes all ayes. Moving on to item 10. This is also the third and final consideration of the ordinance for abandoned buildings that the Iowa General Assembly is requiring all cities to include in their code of ordinances. Don?
Ordinance number 2020-1003, an ordinance regarding the applicability of Chapter 657A of the Code of Iowa. This is introduced for third and final consideration by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gill. Discussion? Roll call.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds,
Aye.
Goodrich. Foster.
Aye.
Ordinance passes its third and final consideration, all ayes. Moving on to item 11, we have items A and B related to bonds. I'm going to hand this over to our Finance Director, Tony Rutland, to further explain.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we have 11A and B, and the agenda was at the beginning of the meeting amended to eliminate items C and D. So A and B are two different bond issues that were sold today, and we have bond resolutions in the packet for those. They were essentially for a little bit of refunding and then some new money projects. And largely the new money projects were in the street category.
Okay, thank you, Tony. So this first one is a refinancing. Item A, Don, consider the resolution.
Resolution authorizing and approving a loan agreement awarding the sale, providing for the issuance of general obligation bonds, Series 2020E, and providing for the levy of taxes to pay the same, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gross, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Foster. Discussion? Roll call?
Gill,
Aye.
Dodds,
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. Item B is also a refinancing of certain existing bonds. Is there anything more you want to add, Tony?
No, nothing additional.
Okay, thank you. Don, the resolution?
Resolution authorizing and approving a loan agreement and interfund loan awarding the sale, providing for the issuance of taxable general obligation bonds, Series 2020F, and providing for the levy of taxes to pay the same, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gross. Discussion? Roll call?
Dodds, Dodds,
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. Okay, moving on to item 12 is tobacco civil penalties. This is a resolution accepting a payment of $1,500 from our Walmart store that was caught selling cigarettes to minors for the second time in a 3-year period. Don?
Resolution approving a second amendment to, resolution accepting payment of $1,500 civil penalty and waiver of right to hearing from Walmart Stores, Inc., introduced for adoption by Councilmember Dodds, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Discussion? Oh.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. Item 13 is Drury parking amendment. This is an amendment that designates the city will take care of capital replacements for the Iowa River Landing Drury parking facility, and that the Drury Hotel will take care of everyday maintenance. Don?
Resolution approving a second amendment to the parking agreement with DDC Hotels, Inc., being Drury, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Dodds. Any discussion? Roll call.
Foster,
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds,
Aye.
Goodrich.
I assume that's an aye, Lori? Just give a thumbs up.
Aye.
Okay.
My iPad, my little city iPad is dying here.
Okay, well, you can always do a thumbs up and I'll count that as well. So, or a thumbs down. Um, So that resolution passes all ayes. Item 14 is the Bluffs at Brown Deer, a project by the Watts Group. And item A is a resolution approving an extension of the agreement with that developer for the project to a closing on May 26th, 2020. Don?
Resolution approving an extension agreement for the Bluffs at Brown Deer, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gill. Discussion? Roll call.
Gross. Gill,
Aye.
Dodds,
Aye.
Goodrich, Foster.
Aye.
Approved all ayes. Item B for the same project is an addendum that allows for the development of the bluffs to occur and prohibits the building of mine shafts underneath the project. Don?
Resolution approving an addendum to the development agreement between Brown Deer Cooperative and River Products Company and the city of Coralville, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gross, seconded by.
Seconded by Goodrich. Discussion? Roll call.
Gill,
Aye.
Dodds,
Aye.
Goodrich, Foster,
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. Moving on to item 15, there's a Coral Crossing 7th edition. This is simply a resolution that accepts the project that included installing pavement, curbs and gutter, water mains, sanitary sewers, storm sewers, and appurtenances for this project. Don?
Resolution accepting municipal improvements constructed on Coral Crossing 7th edition, Coralville, Iowa, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Foster. Discussion? Roll call.
Dodds,
Aye.
Goodrich, Foster,
Aye.
Gross,
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. Item 16 is a mutual aid and assistance agreement that is for participation in an intrastate program for mutual aid and assistance among Iowa water and wastewater utilities. We'll have Don read the and then I'm going to ask City Engineer Dan Holderness to explain a little more what it is. Don?
Resolution approving a mutual aid and assistance agreement for the Iowa Wastewater Agency Response Network, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Dodds, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Foster. Okay, City Engineer Dan Holderness, would you like to give us a briefing on what this includes?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is an organization of 82 Iowa water and wastewater utilities, and they all work together in case of disasters or emergencies. And we recognize that emergencies may require aid or assistance in the form of personnel, equipment, and supplies from outside of the area of the impact. The IRN members coordinate response activities and share resources during emergencies. There's, again, 82 cities in Iowa that belong to this group, and we think it's a great thing for the city of Coralville to belong to as well. We don't need anything immediately from this group, but we want to set the groundwork so that in any future emergencies that we can cooperate with other agencies if we can provide them assistance or if we need assistance from other agencies as well.
Thank you, Dan. Any questions or comments from the council? Roll call.
Goodrich, Foster,
Aye.
Gross,
Aye.
Gill, Dodds.
Okay. The agreement is approved, all ayes. Item 17 is an engineering services agreement with Terracon Consultants Incorporated for a Phase 2 environmental assessment on the property in the Iowa River Landing. This is a project that will be funded through our EPA Brownfields Grant Program. Don?
Resolution approving an engineering services agreement with Terracon Consultants, Inc. for a Phase 2 environmental site assessment limited site investigation for 832 Quarry Road, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded.
Second.
Second.
I think, Tom, did you get in there first?
Aye instead of second.
Mitch can do it.
Okay, seconded by Gross. Well, any discussion? Roll call.
Foster,
Aye.
Gross,
Aye.
Gill,
Aye.
Dodds,
Aye.
Goodrich.
Resolution passes all ayes. I'd entertain a motion to consider approving the consent calendar as presented or amended.
Move to approve the consent calendar, items A through I inclusive.
Second.
Okay, moved by Gill, seconded by Foster. Any discussion? Roll call.
Gross,
Aye.
Gill,
Aye.
Dodds,
Aye.
Goodrich,
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
The consent calendar is approved, all ayes. Item 19 is City Administrator's Report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few items to talk to you about during this time. One is obviously the governor extended the closures for our particular area in relationship to the COVID virus 19. And so we have also extended our closures in the city till May 15th. We're working now with all of our departments as we learn from some of the other cities around the state in the 70 plus counties that are open. We hope to learn from them, from some of their experiences, and put that together as a plan for when our area starts to reopen. So we're looking forward to learning more from them and putting together our plan as to how we'll operate as we come out of these closures. A couple of other things in regards to COVID-19 and some of the things that's happening. Several staff members and sometimes the mayor participate in the Johnson County Emergency Management call that happens every afternoon. And at 3 o'clock that have agencies from across Johnson County participating in this particular time. It includes the hospitals as well. And I'd just like to thank the Johnson County Emergency Management Division. There's several individuals that are involved in that, but they've done an excellent job of keeping us all informed as to what's happening in our county and bringing up items for discussion or that needs further discussion, or bringing information from the state down to our local area. So just like to thank them for their efforts. Last week, a couple of different days, I got to go up and observe the Iowa City School summer lunch, or excuse me, their lunch program. And excellent program. I was so impressed with how organized that they are and what they're providing to the families. And you can see how much the families appreciate what they have and what they're getting there. And I'm sure Mitch can report a little bit later on the numbers and those kinds of things. And on Friday, I went back and was there when the Coralville Food Pantry handed out their weekend bags that they have. And in a grand total of 15 minutes, those people that had been through the line first, the bags were all gone. And so that's really, number one, shows that people are interested and that the service that the Coralville Food Pantry is providing through that is doing excellent. And so one of the things that they've asked us to explore is how we could help them through grant funds and possibly extending that program through the summer and maybe even expanding upon that. So that's one of the things that Ellen Hobble is working with me on as to how we could possibly do that. Ellen, do you have any reports or updates on the census?
Yeah, as of yesterday, Iowa is tied for second with Minnesota. So we're really doing well as a state. We're at 61.4% on the self-response. which, those letters first went out in mid-March, and it's been extended now, the self-response period, because they don't have people going door to door as they normally would. So the self-response period is going to be fairly lengthy. Johnson County is at 62.6%, so better than the state. It's in the top 30% of counties in Iowa. Coralville is at 64.7% as a city as a whole. And we do have that one tract that is doing really well, 77.5%. If you live north of Interstate 80 and west of 12th Avenue, that's your tract. Good job. Also doing well, the tract that is north of 80 and east of 12th, you're at 66.7%. We're struggling a little bit south of 80 and east of 12th, we're at 57.1%. That was a known area that has been not as responsive in the past, and our efforts, I was working with Ellen Hampy-Alexander and Sherry Proud. We were successful in getting grant funds from the National League of Cities to have some events and some activities. And once we're able to reopen the recreation center and the library, we'll be starting those back up and really targeting some of those groups. And then the remaining tracts, which are primarily west of 12th Avenue, west of 965 even, they're at about 60%. So overall, I think Coralville's doing really well. We just need to keep getting the word out.
Thanks, Ellen. It's the last thing I would say is we just continue to appreciate what all of our staff is doing around the city. They're being creative and providing services in all kinds of different ways. And, things are moving forward, and there's a lot of activity around the community. And part of that is because people are creative in how they can continue to provide services and keep our employees safe. So that's all I have at this point, Mayor.
Thank you, Kelly. And yeah, I just really want to emphasize what you just closed with, and that is appreciation to you and the staff in the entire city for working as hard as they are under unusual and sometimes difficult circumstances to try and provide the great services that they're providing. And that the community does appreciate it, the residents, the business community, and continue to show that Coralville pride. And a lot is getting done around the community, whether it's the arena project that continues to be on schedule, the road projects around the arena are, I watch the camera every day, and they're getting the 9th Street and the new 2nd Avenue improved every day, and all around the community, the roadway projects are getting done. So there is a lot going on despite the unusual circumstances. So appreciate everyone that's responsible for doing that, and everyone that's helping with the lunch program and everything else. And meanwhile, we stay involved with our National League of Cities and Iowa League of Cities to continue to advocate for support that sometimes feels lacking for aid to local governments, particularly of communities the size of Coralville and about other communities the size in Iowa. But we haven't given up. We're giving a good fight. We haven't given up, and continue to try and lobby that will be recognized, that even though we're not as big as some of the larger cities on the east and west coast, we nevertheless have difficult shortages in revenue and challenging expenses as a result of this pandemic, and we need to receive our fair share as well, and we're working hard to make sure that happens. Okay, let's move on to City Attorney report. Don or Kevin?
Well, I want to report that people are generally finding it no problem whatsoever to stay more than 6 feet away from me. And I didn't want that to include my wife, but apparently it does. So here we go. Kevin?
You're good, Kevin?
I'm good. No comment.
Thank you. Committee and council members reports. Lori, do you want to start us off? Oh, can't hear you.
Your appreciation is what I would like to echo, both Kelly and Mayor John, and also a lot of communication, a lot of printed communication went out today, and I just want to thank everybody for coordinating that and working together. The staff is doing a fabulous job, and I'd like to thank everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Very well put. Jill, would you like to go next? Jill?
Okay, thank you, Mayor. One thing I wanted to mention was if we could talk to all the citizens about the recycling center. The last few times I've been down there, people have been using it for general trash instead of just recyclable items, and flatten those boxes, and it will make it a lot better for all of us to use that facility as well as that neighborhood, because trash blows all over. Other than that, keep social distancing. We need to fight off the second wave as much as we can and be careful as we start to open things up.
Well put. Thank you, Jill. Tom, you're next on my screen. Is anything you'd like to add?
I don't have much to say. Yesterday morning, my granddaughters and I took a bike ride out to the end of the trail, all the way to Interstate 80 and 380, and it's a fantastic view out there. And there's a lot of people using that trail. It's really a great thing. Everybody's getting out and walking. It was really interesting to see the trees out at the Altmeyer farm out there. That is just fantastic. If you get a chance to go out there and take a look at it, it's quite a sight to see. And that's the recreation department and the arboretum people, and that they've really doing a great job. And that's all I have to say. I'm just hunkered down.
Thank you, Tom.
Yep.
Megan, do you have any words of wisdom this evening?
Just wanting to echo everyone else's sentiments, thanking the city staff for their creative and proactive leadership. Actually, Kelly, one of the things as I was watching the press conference today, and we had someone from Coralville giving an update on the farmers market. Would you mind sharing some of that information about how we're going to proceed?
Yes, the department has been working with our past vendors, and that's not to say that we won't accept new ones, because we would encourage them to participate. But they are looking at May 18th that they would be able to be open. They will be doing social distancing there, and they'll be using the center aisles of the parking lot so that they can spread people out further there. And one of the other things that they are enabling people to do is you'll be able to contact the vendors in advance if you would just like to do drive-through. So you'll be able to do drive-through, have a previous order put in, the payment already made in advance, and then just pick up your items at the market as well. So there will be walk-up availability, and strongly encouraging, and we'll have signs up that encouraging social distancing, and encouraging people to use masks and other safety procedures. But that is going to be, we look forward to May 18th to be able to provide that service to the community.
And there will be hand sanitizing stations, correct, at both entrances?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yes. So there will be that provided as well. And so we're trying to create as safe as an environment, but also people being able to get fresh vegetables and other items like that.
And then can you remind me, because I can't remember if this was covered or not, are they limiting the number of people that are going to move through the market?
No, I don't believe so. Ellen, you know more about those details.
I don't think they were going to limit. I think it was just that you need to, stay the 6 feet apart, and they wanted to encourage cashless payment as much as they could. They will have a list of vendors on the Coralville Farmers Market Facebook page, as well as their page on our website as it gets closer to May 18th. So if there's someone in particular you're looking for, and by the governor's proclamation, the items that will be available will be food and farm produced goods. So the craft vendors will not be able to be there, but I understand there's somebody who sells jam, and he would be allowed to be there, and baked goods, those will be allowed too,
And
along with your fresh produce.
one of the things that we're trying to work through, both tying in the food, the farmers market and the Coralville Food Pantry, is ways to encourage the use of fresh fruits and vegetables to be available at the food pantry and through these bags that get distributed, and our vendors that are using the farmers market, the vendors that are there. So we're trying to figure out exactly how we might also be able to tie that into some of the funds that are available to give the food pantry additional funds, but also then encouraging the vendors and rewarding the vendors for the service that they're providing at our farmers market.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that update. And, you know, I just, again, want to, you know, reiterate that I appreciate everyone's efforts, everyone who is staying home. I know that we have been in this isolation, this quarantine for a very long time, and it's getting old. And a lot of us are really eager to get back out there. But I would just really, you know, continue to urge caution, especially, you know, since we have kind of a patchwork approach to opening things up. I think it's really important that, you know, even though we are eager to get back, that we are still being responsible, and we are still, you know, maintaining that physical distancing, because we're not out of the woods yet. And I know it's hard, and I know it's scary, but I would just really encourage everybody to hang in there and keep doing what you're doing to get through this situation that we're in. And that is all I have. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Megan. Mitch, bring us home.
Ooh, all right, I was getting lonely up here. First of all, I want to consider passing an ordinance that requires Kevin to have to follow up Don. I don't think he should go or say something, because I want to hear what he has to say. But on a serious note, three quick things I do want to touch upon. First of all, I do thank Kelly for stopping over for lunch. I think it really was a good eye-opener to see kind of the process that we have at Northwest, and you know, the need of our community, and just the important role that the district's playing, school district along with the city. I think the district's plan is to continue doing this, to get an extension and to continue meals post the technical end of the school day. Or school year, they're still working on that. But my hunch is that on into the summer, the district will still be doing that for a foreseeable future, just because of the expectation that's happened, and that the districts have been granted a waiver. It might not look exactly how it did, how it is right now, but I think it will be at some point. They will also, Kelly, require you to wear a hairnet in the future if you decide to come. We got dinged a little bit. The other thing I want to say real quick too is its comment as the library representative last week or last meeting, I talked with you about there was concerns about the curbside pickup of books that was going on at the library. The library board of trustees unanimously voted to continue that practice. After speaking with a lot of the librarians that had raised some concern, a lot of those concerns have been mitigated throughout some changes in practices that the library staff and director took. So I personally feel that we're in a good spot. I think what was also telling were the letters that were written in support of the process and the program. And I think one thing we don't think about it, you know, just from a privilege standpoint, that you know, a lot of us that have computers and internet and this or that can say this or that, but a lot of our community members don't have that option. And you know, they like reading as well, and getting those books from the library helps out those folks as well. I was disappointed, and you know, not that I'm trying to rescue a damsel in distress at all, but during that debate on social media, a reporter made, I thought, somewhat attacked the character of Allison Ames Gallstead, our library director. And I just want to publicly say, I think Allison Ames Gallstead is above reproach from a character standpoint. My trust and faith in her is marrow deep, and you know, I hope there was no ill will in what had happened, but I think no public employee, no bureaucrat deserves to be talked about that way on social media. So my thanks to Allison and to all librarians. You know, last week was Library Week, and I think as all of us have talked about, the staff of our city, you know, I think librarians do yeoman's work, and they really are kind of the tentacle of democratic ideals from our citizens to us as government. So I really appreciate all the great work that our librarians are doing. And lastly, I want to give a huge shout out to the police department on making arrests on the Christmas Day murders. Those crimes were hit personally to me with what I do for a living outside of council, and I really appreciate the approach that the police department took in making sure that that they did a methodical investigation that ended with the arrest of potential suspects. So my hat's off to Chief Crone and the rest of the police department. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mitch. Well put. Unless somebody has something good for the order, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Gill, seconded by
Second.
Dodds. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, we will adjourn from the formal meeting, and we will continue in informal meeting. Shall we give each other about a 5-minute break?